Hi guys, I'm Jenna and welcome to my first vlog. This is the first one I've ever done, so if it's rough, only judge me a little bit. Today we're going to talk about Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel García Márquez. I'm guessing if you've been following along this week, you know we're talking about this book because everything that we've done this week has been about this book. Gabriel García Márquez is a great author. He actually won a Nobel Prize for one of his other pieces that I'll be reading later on when I'm working through the list. But today we're going to talk about this piece, and I have lots of interesting goodies for you, so stay tuned. Okay, so we're going to talk about the plot, which you kind of probably already gathered. But essentially, in my mind, it kind of relates to Romeo and Juliet, because they're these people who are not supposed to be together that fall in love when they're young, and it's, at least for Florentino, it's life or death. Like, he has to be with her, that's it. Fermina's dad does not like it. Lorenzo Daza is his name, and he catches on that something's going on with Florentino and Fermina, and he is not about it. So they've spent some time writing some letters. Lorenzo's sister actually lives with them, Fermina's aunt, and she kind of, without really fostering it, kind of helps make it happen because she believes in love, and they're obviously in love with each other. And it makes Fermina happy, and Fermina's life's not incredibly happy throughout the beginning of the book, so this is kind of the pep that the aunt helps with. So the dad finds out, packs her bags, and they go to like the country where he was born, and they go there. And he sends the aunt away. He's like, how dare you go against what I want? So bye, you're gone. So the only comfort that Fermina has, he eliminates from her life. So she ends up going, and she's with her cousin Hildebrand, and they spend a lot of time there. And then she comes back, and she sees Florentino, who has found a way to write her while she's gone, because Lorenzo thinks, oh wow, like I got her away, and now they can't talk to each other. Well, Florentino works for the telegram company and is able to find a way to contact her, and they just continue to write the whole time that she's gone. And when she finally gets back and she sees him, she just is, it's just kind of like she checks out and she goes, wow, this is not as dangerous, it's not as like forbidden love, and it's not as enticing, and she just moves on from it because she realized she's more grown up when she comes back, and she wants that happy life that money can give her. So she meets the doctor, and he actually is drawn to her. He really could have had anybody in the city that he wanted, because he's just that prestigious in the town, and he's handsome and he's young, and he's drawn to her because she's headstrong, and she doesn't give him the time of day at first. She's just like, I don't want anything to do with you. But he's persistent, and they end up getting married, and their life is very like orderly. Like, she has her role, he has his, and they just kind of live their life parallel to each other, but almost not really intertwined, even though she cares for him in a way. Like, they switch roles at one point. She asks for her birthday for him to do everything that she does in a day, and he doesn't even make it past breakfast, and she switches back and is like, I told you I do a lot more than you think, because he kind of takes her for granted every now and then. So years go on, and Florentino leaves, and he comes back, and he runs this river company, and he becomes this wealthy man that is kind of sought after. Like, women think he's handsome because he is, and he's super sleazy. So, I mean, he gets with all these women, and it's not, I mean, he has this reputation. Eventually people kind of think he's gay because he's kind of quiet about it, but he does have a reputation towards the end of the book for kind of being a ladies' man, for a nice way to put it, because that's exactly what he is times 1,000. And he essentially, like, more than once, he's just waiting for the doctor to die, which is kind of interesting because he doesn't try to pursue her when she's married, kind of like out of respect, I feel like, or just, she can't be his while she's with him, so he has to go away, so he has to wait for her. But they run into each other in public often, and Fermina just doesn't even know how to act around him. Like, it makes Florentino's life anytime he runs into her, even if it's, like, sees her on a stage when he's in the crowd, and she doesn't even know he's there, and he just, like, salivates because he's so obsessed with her, and she just does not even give him the time of day. Even if, like, they meet and, like, he shakes hands with her husband, she doesn't even know how to react or be around him. So when her husband dies, he comes to the funeral and is like, I've been waiting for 51 years and however many months and however many days to tell you that I still 100% completely and ardently love you. And she just is kind of, she just kind of doesn't know what to do with it. She doesn't even know how to react. And I'm going to kind of leave it there because I do want you, if you do read this, to have a little bit of a surprise as to how the book ends. But it's really and truly, like I talked about yesterday, a story of longing and this endless love that Florentino has, even though he's kind of crazy about it. Like, he gets crazy. But it's just, it keeps you reading. Because there were a couple times like, why am I still reading this? All I'm reading about is this guy's just pathetic, earnest desire to be with this woman who doesn't want to be with him and is really cold. But you're just drawn to the characters because he's so persistent, and he, despite all of his sexcapades, he really and truly, at his core, everything in his life revolves around her. So I want to tell you a couple of interesting things to note. This is one of my favorite segments because I feel like there's books that you just need to know things before you read them. Like, I need to tell you right now that if it's going to gross you out for a 75-year-old man to sleep with a 14-year-old, not the book for you, because I about put it down whenever I got there. If I wasn't dedicated to finishing this list and reviewing these books, this one would not have been read, because when I got to that, I was like, okay, I need to read that again. Did that just say that he slept with a 14-year-old? So let me draw the picture for you. This little girl, mind you, little girl, gets sent to a boarding school by her parents, and Florentino, I don't remember exactly the logistics, but he's put as like her guardian. He's supposed to be the one that kind of makes sure she's at school and she's doing okay and update the parents if there's anything weird. Hi parents, it's time to update you. I'm sleeping with your daughter and I'm freaking old. And that's basically what happens. And she becomes so obsessed with him that she's like devastated whenever it ends, because every one of his little sexcapades ends because he's not in love with them, because he loves Fermina the whole time. But this little girl sleeps with this old man and grows this like ugly, yucky attachment to him that she is devastated whenever it is. So heads up for those of you who are going to find that gross. It's in the book. So if you don't want to read about that, don't read this one. Okay? So those are some of the things I thought were really interesting to note, and I could tell you probably a couple other things. There's a really interesting character at the beginning of the book who dies, and you don't really know why he's important, but that's how it starts. The book starts with this man's story. His name is like Jeremiah de Saint or something, and he dies, and you're kind of like, why did we know about him? So if you read it and you have an opinion about why that happened, I looked a few things up, but I didn't quite agree with anything. So if you read it and you have an opinion, let me know, because I have a thought, but I'm not going to go into it here. I'd like to hear it in the comments. So read it and let me know what you thought. Okay, so in true love and literature fashion, when I do one of these reviews, the idea is I'm trying to whittle down these 100 books to read before you die that you see all the time. There's these lists all the time that tell you that you need to read all these books. Well, I'm here to tell you, you don't have to read all of them. I liked this book. I don't know that I would tell you I loved it, but I liked it. I'm not going to tell you that you have to read it before you die. I think there's other love stories out there that you could read. What makes this unique and what I would recommend about it is I don't think that I've ever read a book before that quite displays the emotion of yearning and longing for something or someone quite as well as Gabriel García Márquez is able to do with this book. I don't know that Florentino Aritza as a character is going to leave my memory very soon, because he's just so enigmatic and he just has all of these complexities and all of these crazy tangents that he takes within the story. But really and truly, at the end of the day, even though he's disgusting, if I can get out of my mind that he slept with a 14-year-old, I really like him as a character, because he just has this humanistic trait of just like, I can't get this off my mind. Because we've all been there where something just completely captures us and we can't think about it. Usually it's a someone, but for him, he was never able to move on from it, and it's just completely endearing. Fermina, I don't love Fermina. I can't really understand her character because she's just really cold for the most part. But I would say if you want to read about yearning, and you want to read about longing, and you want to read about someone who just sticks it out, in his mind at least, sticks it out for all of these years to find love, this is the book for you. I do like Gabriel García Márquez's writing style. What's interesting, I'll show you. I don't know if you'll be able to tell. There's like no dialogue in the book. It's just pages and pages of just storytelling. He's just a storyteller. He's not here to like paint a scene in your mind. He's here to paint a picture. He's not going to have them act it out for you. He's going to tell you what happened and have you determine how it went down. But literally just page after page of just, there is no dialogue. There's no talking. So you kind of have to interpret the character for yourself, because he's not telling you what they're saying or what they're thinking every 5 minutes. So great writing, really awesome theme, really well conveyed. There's good character development, lots of complexities, lots of things to question. Like, I'll be thinking about this book for a while, trying to decide why I think certain things happened and how it affected the rest of the book. So I would not say it's something that you have to read before you die, but I would recommend it as something to read if those are the kinds of things that interest you. So that's all I have for that. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm sure it was kind of crazy. We're going to work on it as we go forward. But I thoroughly enjoyed doing it, so I hope it's fun for you to watch. And keep coming back, because next week we're going to read To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Almost said Atticus Finch. That is not her name. I think your finger's in the way.
It's not.
I'm going to tell you that. Yeah, we're going to talk about that later. Never mind. Really sweet. That's all